Hey everybody, it's Mama Two Wife One. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, hi. Thank you guys for clicking so much on this. I am Mama Two Wife One. I'm a content creator, a mommy, a wife, an editor, a literary editor to be specific, an author, a blogger, and I'm just a black woman on here just talking about reality TV, talking about random things that come to mind, hopefully telling you guys things that could possibly help you. So you can see from the title of this video that we're here to talk about, I think it's 7. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 7 tips to have a successful school year. I don't know when school started for you guys. I don't know exactly where everyone is located, but school for my babies started last Thursday. The date for that would be the 24th. I don't know why school starts here on a Thursday. That's never made any sense to me. I think it's stupid, but what do I know? I don't run the school system. But since school started last Thursday and a lot of people in my family, their school day started today on the 28th, I decided to make this video. Now, obviously, we can talk about buying school supplies and buying clothes for your kids and all this stuff leading up to school. I'm not talking about any of that. These are the 7 things that I typically do to start the school year off with. They're just 7 things I keep in mind when the school year starts to help the school year be successful, not only for my children, but for myself and for the teachers and the staff. So this is in no particular order. Also, I want to apologize in advance since my throat has been really dry, so I may be drinking water throughout this video just to forewarn you guys. But before I go on, before you finish this video, like this video, share, subscribe, comment down below, do all those good things. So, tip number 1, pray for your students and pray for the teachers and the staff. I don't want to assume that the people watching my videos are Christian or whatever your religion or not religion is. Don't want to assume that you pray. If you happen to be a praying person, pray over your kids, not just for them to be safe, but also pray that they make good decisions. Pray they won't be afraid to ask for help if they need to. Pray that they will just, be advocates for themselves and, pray for the teachers. Pray that the teachers will come to school with good attitudes. Pray that the teachers have all the resources that they need. We know a lot of teachers are underpaid and a lot of times they have to dip into their own money to buy school supplies for their classrooms. So pray that they get the things that they need. Pray, again, that they have the resources they need, not just the physical resources, but also whatever resources that they need to teach your child. A lot of our children have special needs or just special things that they need outside of the stereotypical paper and pencil and ruler and eraser and all that stuff. There may be other things that they need. So just pray that the teachers get the things that they need. Pray that the teachers are honest and patient with our children. Pray that our students are respectful to these teachers. I mean, just overall, I can go on and on. There's so many things to pray for. So I know in my household, I pray for my children every morning when I take them to school. My daughter is in 4th grade. My son is now a high school freshman, so I don't take him to school anymore. But before he walks out the door to go to the bus stop, I put my hands on his head. It's kind of me laying my hands on him, and I pray over him every single morning. And with my daughter, every morning when we're in the car and dropping her off, we pray every single morning. And I always pray for the teachers, always pray for the staff, because it's not just the teachers in the classroom that they're interacting with, it's the janitors, it's the people who work in the lunch, the people who work in the front office. All of those people need to be covered in prayer. Because don't let one of them come to school with an attitude or come to school not having the things that they need. Who knows how that would impact our children? So that's one of the things that's very, very important in my household that we take very, very seriously. Number 2, set goals with your students and revisit those goals throughout the school year. A lot of teachers do this with the students anyway. They ask them at the beginning of the year, what kind of things do you want to accomplish before the school year is over with? And obviously, not every child is really thinking that way. They may not necessarily know what it is. But as parents, we should be setting goals for our students as well, for our children as well. And it doesn't always have to be something that coincides with school. It could be something as simple as, before the school year is out, I want you to learn how to write your name in cursive. I think that's actually a big one, because it's not like they, at least in most school systems now, they have so many things, the teachers, they have so many things that they have to teach the kids before the school year is over with. So a lot of them do not teach handwriting anymore. My son only knows how to write in cursive because I downloaded this app on his iPad years ago that taught him how to write in cursive. And actually I do the same thing with my daughter. They don't teach that in school. The children should know how to sign their name. So signing their name could be a goal. If you have younger children, learning how to tie their shoe could be a goal. Learning how to make their own breakfast could be a goal. For my son, since he's older, learning how to iron was a goal for ours last year. So he knows how to iron his clothes now. So whatever that goal is, sit down with your children and discuss with them goals. And you could, divide it up into categories. It could be academic, it could be socially, it could be physically or mentally, however you want to do it. But I think it's important that the children have something to work towards. And again, revisit it throughout the year because the goals could change. They may need encouragement to continue to press through. So just something to think about. Number 3, join your PTA, PTO, PTSA, PTSO. If you don't know what those stand for, Parent Teacher Association, Parent Teacher Student Association, Parent Teacher Organization, Parent Teacher Student Organization. Depending on geographically where you are, it could be called different things, but essentially it is the parent group at the school. I want you to understand that joining, we'll say PTA for the premise of this video, don't believe that joining PTA means that you have to go to every single meeting. That is not what that means. But being on the PTA does allow you to understand what's happening at your child's school. And even though you may not care about it, there could be some information in there that could actually help you. And some of the things the PTA does, they do a lot of fundraising, but that money goes towards supporting the teachers in different ways. It could be raising money to buy a piece of furniture for the school. It could be buying breakfast or lunch or snacks or whatever for Teacher Appreciation Week, which is typically the first or second week in May. It goes towards a teacher breakfast right before school starts to kind of welcome the teachers back and show them love. For elementary, middle, and high school, sometimes they raise money specifically for the seniors of the school. So in my district, the elementary schools go to 5th grade. Middle school goes to 8th grade, obviously, and then high schools go to 12th grade. So for those seniors, those 5th, 8th, and 12th graders, they normally do something for them at the end of the year. It could be throwing them a party. It could be ordering yard signs. It could be throwing like a after prom for like high school seniors. Whatever it is, the PTA are normally the ones who foot the bill for that, and they do that through fundraising. So that could be through having spirit night at some of the local restaurants. That could be a car wash, whatever it is. A lot of times, again, the PTA is behind it. So it is good to understand what the PTA does, understand where that money is going towards. A lot of times the money is not that much, and I shouldn't say not that much because I don't know everyone's financial situation, but I would say look into it. Especially if your child is new to this particular school or this school district, I think it's very important for you to join that organization. And the ones that have a parent, teacher, student element to it, that means your student can join too so they can understand what's happening as well. Highly encourage everyone to do that. The next is introduce yourself to the teachers at back to school night and check in with them throughout the year. This is more important when your child's in elementary school. I will say that, and it's a lot easier too. In elementary school, your child has technically one teacher. They may have specials teachers. Like my daughter, she has one homeroom teacher, technically two, but she's in a classroom that has dual teachers. But in addition to that, she has an arts teacher. She has the PE teacher. She has a music teacher. She has a librarian. I think there's like another specials teacher. So there are other grown-ups that she interacts with throughout the school year, obviously. But for those two main teachers that are her homeroom teachers, it was important for me to go to back to school night and to go to the open house so that they could see my face, they could know who I am. So if something happens with my child or if there's an opportunity for my child later on down the line, I already have established that relationship with them. And they can say, oh, Miss Such and Such, yes, we have your daughter. We know who you are. And that doesn't mean that you have to volunteer at the school or come to every event or whatever. But it's just a matter of just checking in with your child's teacher. Now, a lot of teachers, they do have the parent-teacher conference, which typically takes place in the fall. I know at my child's school, my daughter's school, specifically the elementary school, they have the parent-teacher conference in the fall. That's normally in November. So you're really only hearing about what your child has done for 2 months. But you still got, 7 months left of school? So at her school, they have an optional spring parent-teacher conference, which I always sign up for because a lot of things can happen between November and April. And it's important that I know every step of the way what's happening with her, what kind of things we need to work on, because the whole point for me in terms of talking to the teacher is figuring out what challenges my daughter is having in school. Whether it's, she has difficulty, I don't know, let's say for reading, she has difficulty comprehending the book. So these are some of the tactics that we're using in class. I need to know that so when she's home and she has to read every single day as part of her homework, I can employ some of those tactics as well. What I really want both of my children to understand is that everybody is highly invested in your education. That's why we're all on the same page with how we're going to help you. That's why we're all in communication. So everyone knows what's going on with the other person. And my child and neither of my children are getting conflicting information. So for me, it's very important to establish that relationship very early on. And when I have the time, I'll volunteer at the school. I'll volunteer to be like the class parent. Doesn't always work out, and that's fine. But at least they know who the heck I am. So I think that's very key. Another thing, encourage your students to advocate for themselves. Now, this is more so for you guys who have older children, whether they're in middle school, high school, or even if they're in college, especially when they're in college. In middle and high school, they're still living at home, obviously, and the teachers will still call you or send you an email if your child is acting up or something like that. But I will say that when it comes to grades, a lot of times you're not getting that information from them that, oh, your child is failing my class, because they have so many students. All they're doing is checking the computer system, seeing who turned something in, giving them the grade, and that's it. They're not focused on, oh man, Johnny, I expected more from him because he should be doing this and this. Let me call Johnny's mother. A lot of times that does not happen. Unless there's like an egregious thing happening, like maybe this one student is failing every class, you're not going to hear from that teacher. So your child, again, school systems are different, but here, my son is able to go into the computer, and I'm able to go into the computer as well and see exactly what his grades are. And they don't just say A, B, C, D, whatever. It'll also say, okay, they got this grade because they are missing 4 assignments, or they got a low test score or whatever. So I taught my son from middle school, especially because his entire 6th grade year, his first year of middle school, that was during COVID. So he, was having class like this for the entirety of a 6th grade year. So it was very important to me that he contacted his teachers on a semi-regular basis. All of his teachers had check-ins once a week. Now he would ask me, do I have to do the check-in? Like, if you have less than a B in that class, yes, you need to do a check-in. You need to talk to them to figure out how you can bring that grade up, find out if you're missing any assignments, find out if you can redo a test, if you can write a paper, whatever it is, but you need to check in with them. And whenever he would send something in, I would tell him, okay, if you sent that assignment, make sure you email the teacher and say, hi, Miss Such and Such, this is such and such from your 4th period biology class. I just want to let you know that I just turned in this assignment. Please let me know that you received it. Please let me know if you got it or whatever. So he started doing that in 6th grade and kind of kept it up. And he would get feedback from his teachers like, oh, thank you so much for, writing to me. It really, shows that you care about your grade, that you sent this message. And I'm a person who likes to look at the big picture. If your child does this and they establish their own personal relationship with their teachers in this manner, obviously a respectable relationship, make sure I'm clear with that, but just having that assertiveness to email a teacher to say, hey, I'm not doing so well in your class, can I come in for tutoring? Or hey, where can you recommend I go to get extra help for this? If they're doing that, teachers get all kinds of information that we're not privy to as parents. They could get something across their desk for an amazing scholarship opportunity or an amazing internship opportunity. And if they have 200 plus kids that they're teaching any given, week or whatever, and they're like, who's the one student that I can recommend for this? I know that one student who always emails me, who has the time to, not has the time, who cares about their grade, who takes the time to email me, who takes the time to redo assignments. This student will be perfect for this. And in the long run, my child could be that person chosen for this scholarship or chosen for this amazing opportunity. So it's very important to instill that in your children as early as possible. And I say in middle school, they can start doing that. And especially for college, college is a different story. And I may do a different video once my child gets to college about that, because college is a whole nother can of worms. But if you start your child off advocating for themselves in middle school, it'd make it a lot easier for them to do it once they get in college. So that's something to consider. Acknowledge your students' feelings and help them use their words. This has always been very important to me, because if you are of my generation, I'm 41 years old. If you are of my generation, you were brought up to be seen and not heard. And there wasn't a lot of talk about young kids having anxiety or, being nervous or having low self-esteem or whatever. It just wasn't, not that we didn't experience those things, but there wasn't necessarily a name for those things for our age when we were young. And it wasn't really acknowledged. And it's very important to me that my children feel comfortable expressing themselves to me and to their father. So I'm constantly asking them, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? Are you all right? Okay, let's explore that. Okay, it's okay to feel that way. My 9-year-old daughter, I have, and I don't know if something can pass down, but I think I've unfortunately passed down my anxiety to her. I have light or low anxiety. And the day before school started last Wednesday, she was crying going to bed. And I said, "Sweetie, what's wrong?" She said, "Mommy, I don't think I'm ready for school." And her normal go-to is, what if I don't make any friends? That's always the thing she's concerned about. What if I don't make any friends? But I went to her open house and I saw the names of the kids in the classroom because they were written on their desk, and several of the kids from third grade are in their class, friends of hers. And I said, "Well, Ladybug," that's what I call her. It's like, you have friends in your class already. I saw their names. Actually, one of them sitting right beside you, so you'll know people as soon as you walk through the classroom. And then, what if I don't know my teacher? I was like, "Well, baby, remember I told you your teacher this year was actually your teacher in second grade, and she's so excited to see you again, and you really liked her." And then it was like, "Well, what if I don't know what to do?" And it was always something, her just kind of questioning if she can do this, what's going to happen. And I think it's just more of the unknown. And unfortunately, she's like her mom, or like I was at that age, I hated change. If I got comfortable in a situation, comfortable with my place in life, comfortable with the second grade, third grade, or whatever, I didn't understand, why do I have to move on to something else? And I have to start over from scratch, meeting new people and learning new things. And it was just exhausting. But at that age, I didn't know how to express myself to say I'm nervous or I'm uncomfortable. I would just have that feeling in me of just not feeling right, but knowing I had no choice. And I don't think, love my parents, but I don't think they knew at that time to create a space for me to even say the words that I'm uncomfortable. So I'm glad that my daughter feels confident enough and comfortable enough in her skin and in her relationship with us to physically say, "I'm not feeling good about this, I'm nervous." And I basically just answered her questions, and I told her, "Look, at the end of the day, Mommy is going to pick you up. Mommy is always going to be there for you. So I will pick you up at the end of every day, and we'll pray to God every single morning before you go to school. And between me and God and your daddy, we're going to cover you with so much love and light, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it's successful and make sure you feel okay." It's so important that kids have that space. So listen to your children. Constantly check in with them. Don't just say, "How was your day?" But ask them follow-up questions. What was your favorite part of the day? What could have made your day better? How would you rate your day 1 through 10? What is something that I can do to make your day better? What's something your teacher could do to make your day better? What's something you think you could have done to make your day better? Ask follow-up questions of your kids. Definitely get them involved in this process of, if not enjoying school, at least tolerating it a little bit better. Because some people just don't like school, and that's fair as well. But definitely acknowledge what your children are feeling, because their feelings matter. And the last thing, encourage student involvement and get involved yourself. So I said to join the parent teacher association or organization. If you have the time, I encourage you to volunteer at your school. That could mean volunteering to work a lunch shift. And I shouldn't say work if you're not getting paid for it, but that could be volunteering to just go to your child's school during a lunch period and just, assisting. A lot, again, this is specifically for elementary school. A lot of elementary schools will have some kind of party. They may have a party for the fall or party for the spring or winter themed, whatever. Volunteer to, come to the party. It could mean just, standing there and just helping lead an activity. It could be volunteering to clean up something. I know at elementary schools, most elementary schools, they have a field day. So volunteer for field day. Go outside with the kids and, again, guide them in a game or pass out water or whatever it is. In middle school, there aren't as many opportunities to volunteer. There are opportunities to volunteer, but not necessarily with your children. Elementary school, if you want to physically be with your kids, there's there's a lot of opportunities to volunteer. In middle school, the volunteering is just to help the school out, not specifically your child. But you can still come and volunteer during Teacher Appreciation Week. It could be volunteering to set up the food, to donate food, or whatever it is. So I encourage you to do that and encourage your children to get involved. Most schools are going to have some kind of after-school or in-school club and or program. I highly recommend that you encourage your students to join something. They don't have to overwhelm themselves, but at least be involved in something. And if it's not something they can find inside the school, something outside the school. No child, if possible, should never just go to school and then come home. If you have the means, I highly suggest you look into getting them to some kind of program. I will say for my daughter, last year she did basketball. She's not necessarily interested in basketball again this year, but next week we're going to an interest meeting for Girl Scouts, and I'm going to look into some other stuff for her. My son at his school, he's in high school, so they have a plethora of clubs and activities. He has joined the Art Honor Society and the Black Student Union, which I'm incredibly happy about as an African American Studies minor. Very happy he's doing that. He's also a member of the Kappa League. If you guys are familiar with fraternities and sororities, a lot of these fraternity sororities, they have a mentoring arm for young people. So that's another thing you guys could possibly look into. I think it varies on the age that they accept. It varies on the qualifications. For the Kappa League in our area, they deal with children, with boys specifically, who are ages 12 to 17. But it's great. He meets all kinds of young men that are around his age group. They go out and do activities. They have a business meeting once a month where they're learning about mental health. They're learning about hygiene. They're learning about writing your resume. Like, just a bunch of different things. But it's a really cool thing to help him grow into the young man that we want him to be. So those are my tips for having a successful school year. I hope this video has helped somebody. If you guys have further questions, definitely comment below. If you guys wanted me to do another video focused specifically on college, so I can definitely talk about that, put that in the comments below, or any topic that you want me to talk about that has to do with motherhood, that has to do with being a wife, that has to do with being a woman, whatever it is, definitely comment and let me know, and I will definitely get on the ball with that. But again, I'm Mama to Wife 1. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, comment below, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.